Hello, SMU. I am Jillian O'Keefe at Jillian Finding Happy on Instagram. I'm super excited to be coming to you to talk all about how to authentically build your following on Instagram. Because, yes, you can use all sorts of bots and things like that to grow your following. But one, Instagram is cracking down on that and starting to punish those who use the bots. And two, those people that are following you are not good followers. They're likely to unfollow you. They're likely to have no interest in you. So trust me, what I'm about to teach you is going to take what you know and amplify it so that you can help your clients build a bigger following and so that you can help yourself build a bigger following. All right. The first thing that I always recommend before you even start major engagement on your account or a client's account is to bulk up your bio, because on Instagram, there are only two searchable sections that Instagram gives you on your profile, which are your username, one. That's the name that you would log in with. That's the name at the top of your account when you go to your profile page. And then the second line that you can have that is searchable is your headline. So both of those are hugely important. You want to make sure that you have searchable things in there. So for instance, my username on Instagram is Jillian Finding Happy. My name is in there. So that way, if somebody finds me or hears me on a podcast and they didn't really hear how to find me, if they search Jillian and Instagram, they'll find me. Because in my headline, I have visibility. What do I have? Visibility Instagram expert, I believe is what I put. Yes, perfect. Exactly that. Visibility Instagram expert. So if they search Jillian and Instagram, my name is likely to be one of those ones that come up. Instagram does not have any search function within your bio. So putting keywords in there doesn't hurt because you want people to come to your bio, read it, know who you are and what you do like that so that you can grab their attention. But it isn't searchable. Only your username and your headline are searchable. So what I recommend is that one of those, either the headline or your username, be your name or have your name in it. And then the other of those describe what it is that you do. I like to put the headline as the description of what you do, hence visibility Instagram expert, and my username to be my name plus, Jillian Finding Happy, or, I have a client that is first last name official, or the Jillian O'Keefe, or, something like that, something that people will know your name. They'll be able to search you by name, but also by what you do. So take the time to absolutely fix those if you haven't already, whether it's your account or your clients. Hugely important. A couple of other things I want to say about your bio. I'm sure you know you only have 150 characters, so use them wisely. Make sure that you are using information that when somebody comes to your profile, they can easily know, like I said, who you are, what you do. That is so important. Number two, if you have hashtags or if you're tagging someone in your bio, get rid of it. Unless, let's say, for instance, one of my clients has two accounts. She has her personal account and then she has her podcast account. In the podcast account, she tags herself. That's okay. Because that way you can direct people that come to the podcast page over to your personal page. That's okay. However, if you are tagging like maybe a mentor or something like that, I recommend getting rid of it. And I especially recommend getting rid of all your hashtags and not in your bio and not having any more than one or two. Why? Excuse me, because what happens when you have a hashtag in your bio, all it's doing is sending people away from your account. So let's say you hashtag boss mom or you do hashtag boss lady or something because you're a boss mom or you're a boss lady. I totally get what you're trying to do there. You're trying to get your profile found by more people, but it doesn't work that way. What ends up happening is people, if they're curious, will tap that hashtag. They'll dive into that hashtag and they may forget that they were ever visiting your account. You lost them. You lost the potential of a new follower. You lost the potential of a prospect. Any of that is gone because they dove into the hashtag and they're gone. Because and I'm sure you do too, when you bounce around, you forget where you started, right? So remove the hashtags. If you feel it necessary to have one or two in there, that's fine. Just make sure that there's a really good reason for them, not just because you think you're going to be easily found, because you're not. Remember, only two searchable fields: username, headline. That's it. All right. So that is probably good for your bio. The next thing I would recommend is you need to identify some really good hashtags. And you're wondering, what does this have to do with engagement? I promise you we'll get there. But I created a challenge that took people from, it was a 5-day challenge. It took people from not knowing how to engage to being engagement experts. And the process makes sense once you go all the way through it. Next step, find some hashtags that your ideal clients or customers are hanging out in. So if you're looking to engage for a client of yours, you're going to want to find where their clients and their customers are hanging out. Now, let me give you an example of what not to do. Okay. If, let's say, one of your clients or yourself is a Young Living distributor, a lot of times people will hashtag their photos, their stories, things like that with hashtag Young Living, hashtag Young Living Oils, hashtag oil lover, things like that. Now, the problem with that is that those hashtags are full of people who already love oils. Those are full of people who already either sell Young Living themselves, who maybe sell a different brand of oil, who love oils and get them in other places. Those are not your ideal clients and customers. Sure, you could switch somebody who sells doTERRA over to Young Living. Of course you can, but that is not the ideal, right? You want people who either are new to oils or are just thinking about it. You want people who have never heard of oils or have no idea what you're talking about. You want people who are looking to have a cleaner, low tox home, things like that. So you would want to do some search on finding hashtags that fit those people versus using the easy ones like oil lover or whatever. The same goes for us as social media managers, right? We don't want to use the hashtag social media managers because that's probably full of other social media managers. We want to target our ideal client. So if your ideal client, for instance, is a mom business owner who is looking to up level, you might want to use something like, and I'm going off the top of my head here, hashtag boss moms. Now, I think boss mom has over 1 million hashtags tied to it now, which is a little big, but it's better than hashtagging it social media managers because your ideal client, a mom business owner, is not going to be looking and tagging things in social media managers. Does that make sense? So take the time. First of all, identify who your ideal client and customer is. You should probably have that already. And then maybe do a little brainstorming about what their interests are, where they would be hanging out, and then look in those hashtags. You're not going to find hashtags for everything, but there are so many hashtags out there these days that I would bet you're going to have some pretty good luck. Now, the next thing that is really important is that when you find these hashtags, you don't want them to be too big. If they get too big, when you use them, two things are going to happen. If you use them on a photo, your photo is going to go way down really fast and nobody's going to get their eyes on it. If you use it to engage with, most likely a lot of the people in those hashtags are going to be the spammy accounts, the accounts that just share business quote after business quote after business quote, which is fine. Those accounts have their way of doing things, but that isn't going to help you. You want hashtags, depending on your account size. There is a lot of nuance here. I actually have a whole formula that I use to figure out hashtags, but I'm not going to get into detail with that here. What you want to look at is any hashtag that has 8,000 pictures tied to it up to maybe 250,000 pictures tied to it. Look for hashtags, the majority of your hashtags, to be within that size. Now, of course, I do think it's a good idea to include one or two huge ones. So if you are looking to engage with and build a community of boss moms, using a hashtag like boss mom is okay. If you're using that one and then a bunch of smaller ones, that's fine. If you want to use something like entrepreneur, which has millions and millions of photos tied to it, I would try to zero that in a bit. Maybe entrepreneur life or entrepreneur attitude or something like that. That is a bit smaller. Don't go way too big. Now, take the time, do the research on these hashtags, because this is where you're going to be doing the majority of your engaging. And it's hugely important to do that so that you don't end up going all over the place and bringing in people who aren't your ideal clients and customers. It's going to happen. There are going to be people who follow you that have, or your clients who have no desire to really get to know you or your business. But if you do the work, the majority of what you bring in will be perfect for what you're looking for. Now, what I also recommend is so you can find as many hashtags as you want doing this, but I would recommend finding at least 4 to 5 for this exercise. And then if you want to dive deeper, now that you have a little bit of a formula, go ahead and do that. I actually recommend to my clients, if they do it themselves or if they hire me to do it, I recommend doing 30 minutes of hashtag research once a quarter. And when I do my hashtag research, I collect 150 at minimum and some of them are the same as what we've been using, but there are also new ones out there or ones that may have been smaller before that have now hit that 7 to 8K photo mark that we can start using. So take the time and dig in. Hashtags are important. Don't waste this time. Don't just say, I don't need them. I'm just going to use the bulk ones like everybody else does. Take the time to do the hashtag research. It is so worth it. Okay. So now you've optimized your bio. You have hashtags to engage with. Now starts the engagement. Now, let me preface this by saying engagement on Instagram is very, very time consuming, which is why I am so happy to give away all of the information that I know about engaging on Instagram, because it is so time consuming that no matter how much I give away, people still are going to need me to do this job. And I'm not referring to you guys so much but this challenge that I gave to people, it laid everything out in very, very specific detail on what they should do. But I felt okay with that because the people that went through it, they're like, this is amazing. Thank you for this information. But you're right. It is so time consuming. And what happens is they're like, okay, now I know what to do, but I also know why I need to hire someone. So now that we have our hashtags, the next thing you're going to want to do is start engaging within those hashtags. The first thing is pull up one of the hashtags in your Instagram app. I always recommend using the app on your phone versus the computer. Because the computer is still buggy. They're still like banning people for liking too much because they think you're a bot. So what you're going to do is I'm going to pull up Savvy Business Owners on my phone. The hashtag Savvy Business Owners. You are going to do the same with your hashtag, whatever works for you. And so then you get your screen with all of your hashtag or all of the photos. Don't use the top. Go to the recent feed. Always, no matter what hashtag you're using, go to the recent feed. The top photos are fantastic, but they likely have a lot of engagement already. Your likes, your comments are not going to stand out as much if you use that top feed. So go to the recent feed. Set a timer for 5 minutes. I mean it, because you will lose track of time if you don't. I like to use my watch because it makes no sound. It vibrates. It's not jarring, but any timer will do. Set the timer for 5 minutes. Now that you're on the recent tag, tap that first photo and literally sit there and scroll and like for 5 minutes. Don't go fast. It's a nice leisurely stroll through the photos. If you go too fast, Instagram will start to block you. If you go slow and steady, Instagram will just think you're just being very engaging on your account, which is exactly what you want, right? When you do that 5-minute engagement, it's telling Instagram, oh, wow, yeah, she really knows what she's wants to engage with people. She's building her outward engagement with possible community members. Okay, so now that your timer has gone off, you've scrolled and liked for 5 minutes. The next thing that you want to do is go back, same hashtag, go back to the top. You're still in the recent tab, and you're going to go, and you're going to see the first person there, whatever the first photo is, you're going to go to their account, and you're going to see, do they have things, would they be a good client for me? Would they be a good customer for me? If so, you're going to go ahead and tap on the first photo, which you probably have already liked because that was probably the one in the feed, in the hashtag feed. But then you're going to go through and like all the photos that you need to like. I recommend up to 6. And then you're going to comment on at least 2. Now, when you comment, you want to make sure that those comments are genuine. They're not just nice post or great photo or anything like that. You want to either comment on what's going on in the photo or what was talked about in the content under it, the caption. And those genuine comments should be at least 5 words. So if they ask a question, if they have a call to action and they ask, how about you? Share a time when you experienced a big no or something like that. Share your story, because what you're doing is that you are connecting with these people. So what you're doing is twofold. One, you are showing Instagram that you're a busy person, or that you're busy looking to engage with your community, build up the people that you get to know. And 2, you are also connecting with people that may become followers and eventually then customers or clients down the road. So take the time to do this. And I would set the timer for 5 minutes, which means you're not going to get through a ton of comments, maybe 2 or 3 profiles, but that's okay. So go back to your hashtag feed, tap on the next person, and go in and engage with their stuff and see what you can get. Here's a couple of things of note. Number 1, you don't want to follow everybody that you engage with. We're not, and I can't stress this enough, we are not doing the follow, unfollow thing. This is all about real, genuine engagement. If you go to their bio and you see it as somebody that you would absolutely love to get to know more, that you would love to see their posts in your feed, go ahead and give them a follow. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't do it to try to get them to follow you back. Number 2, when you are doing the commenting, you should be a little selective. When you're liking and scrolling, that's okay to just like every photo you scroll by. That's fine. When you are actually commenting on somebody's photos, don't comment on somebody who you wouldn't want to be a customer or a client. Don't waste your time. If they are the perfect person or they look like they could be an ideal client or customer, go ahead, comment, like, engage with them, but just be a little bit more selective. All right, the next thing we're going to get into, and again, can be very time consuming, but you want to go in and you can start identifying 4 to 5 accounts that your clients, larger accounts, meaning 7K followers and higher, identify accounts that your ideal clients and customers would be engaging with. So if, for instance, you are a social media manager who helps boss moms, a great account might be Dana Melstaff's. You might want to go to her account and check out who's following her, check out who is commenting on her photos, things like that. But you want to find 4 to 5 accounts larger than yours or larger than your clients who have a similar type of following that you would like to work with. Because what you're going to do is you're going to go into the comments of that larger account. So let's say Dana Malstaff posts a photo. You're going to go in and you're going to go ahead and engage with the people that are engaging with her photos, right? You're going to go in there. You can respond to their comments right under her photo. You can go to their profiles and engage with their content right on their own photos. So you could respond to, maybe they posted a picture sharing some good news about their business. You can go there and you can comment and respond to their photos. You can like 6, 7 photos of theirs, comment on 2 or 3, go back and do it again. The other thing that you can do with these larger accounts is if you go into who their followers, who's following them, you can maybe find some people that you can then engage with. But again, it's very important that when you engage with these accounts that you're doing it authentically. You're not just going following to get them to follow you back. You're not just going and commenting nice post or beautiful photo or, heck yeah, unless of course they ask for a heck yeah. But you want this to be very, very authentic, because again, the twofold thing, not only do you want Instagram to see that you are outwardly engaging, that you are consciously working on building a community, but you also want these individuals to want to engage with you, to follow you, to learn about you, or your clients, because that is how we build the community. That is how you work to earn people's trust. So then they eventually hopefully buy from you, right? So go into the bigger accounts, followers, see what might, maybe there's some ideal customers in there. Go into their accounts, like 6 to 7 photos, comment on 2 to 3, real genuine comments, and then go back and do it again. Set the timer for 5 minutes each time you do this, because you don't want to lose track of time. Of course, you can do it longer, but by setting 5 minutes, it makes it seem doable in my head and not so overwhelming, because engagement can start to seem super overwhelming. Okay, just making sure I didn't forget anything. Okay. The next thing that we need to do is the fifth. So now that we know how to engage within hashtags, we know how to find our hashtags, we know how to engage within hashtags, and we also now know how to engage with the followers of other bigger accounts. The next thing we need to do is put it all together in an exercise in a way that is easy to manage and easy to remember. So the first thing that we need to do is, I recommend, for a 15-minute sprint, which I will explain what that is in a minute, 4 to 5 days a week, and 1 engage like a boss hour, which I will also recommend in a second, 1, which is 60 minutes, 1 day a week. And by doing that, being consistent with it, or as much as possible, you start to see the engagement grow. You'll start to see your insights blow up. Now, I want to also say some is better than none. So while I do recommend 4 to 5 days a week of engagement for 15-minute sprints and 1 hour, 1 day a week, that's a lot. So if you can only do 15-minute sprints twice a week and maybe 1 hour every other week, some is better than none. Do it. Do what you can. Don't sit on it because you can't do it perfectly. Okay. So here's what a 15-minute sprint includes. It is 5 minutes scrolling in your opening feed. Basically, what that means, set a timer for 5 minutes, go to Instagram, go to your opening feed, meaning the feed that as soon as you open the app, that feed comes up, and then start scrolling for 5 minutes. The purpose of doing this is because a lot of the times, the people in our opening feed are individuals who are also following us. So it looks to them, to another twofold here, it looks to them like we are nurturing, that we're building more of a community, that we're connecting with them, we're getting to know them better, that we're taking an interest in what they're posting, but also it shows Instagram that not only are we looking to build and connect with people who don't yet follow us, but we are now connecting with people who do follow us. We are still building the community even once people start following us. So take 5 minutes, and scroll and like. Not fast, very gingerly, very slow. Pause. Feel free to read quote cards. If you're going through and you're scrolling and you notice a really great quote card that you'd like to share in your stories, share it in your stories, but just take the 5 minutes and like that. Once your timer goes off and that 5 minutes is up, the next 5 minutes you're going to spend liking within one of the hashtags that you identified earlier. So go to the hashtag. I'm just going to stick with my savvy business owners. I'm going to set my timer. I am then going to go to my recent tab and I am going to like for 5 minutes. Slowly scrolling, not fast. We don't want to rush anything. We don't want to look like a bot or like we're trying to spam anybody. We're engaging. Scroll and like for 5 minutes. Then set your timer again, and then you are going to go and you're going to start commenting. So you can either go and you can comment on people's accounts from the bigger accounts that you identified earlier, meaning go to their comment section, go to their followers, engage with people there. You could do that for 5 minutes. Or if you want, you can stay within that hashtag and within the recent tab and just go to people's accounts there and engage with their photos, comment on their photos, things like that. Remember, we're liking 6 to 7 photos. We are commenting on 2 to 3 genuine comments. That's your 15-minute sprint. Once your timer goes off, you're done. And the reason I like this and it's effective is because you are hitting all the areas. People that already potentially follow you, people that are new who haven't started following you yet, and you're engaging, which is going to get people to be even more curious. Maybe they don't necessarily follow you, but they may come over to your profile and check out your photos and comment, which even if they don't follow you, that has benefit. Them engaging with you in any way has a benefit. Okay, so those are the 3 things to do in the 15-minute sprint. You do those if as many possible times as you can, but I recommend 4 to 5 days a week, once a day. If you can do more, that's cool too. The next thing I recommend is called, I have tagged it, the Engage Like a Boss Hour. And it is, again, you are literally sitting there and engaging on Instagram for 1 hour. So it's time consuming, but it's very, very worth it. So this, you might want to write down the steps. The first thing you want to do is you're going to want to have 2 timers. You don't have to do it this way. This is just how I do it, and it keeps me on track. But you're going to want to have 2 timers. One timer you're going to set for 60 minutes. The other timer is going to be the one that you're going to constantly reset every 5 minutes or 10 minutes. The first thing that you do, once you set your timer for the 60 minutes and then the 5 minutes, you're going to open the app and you're going to scroll and like your opening feed for 5 minutes. Once you've done that, once you've completed that, you're going to set your 5-minute timer again, and you're going to hop into one of the hashtags that you identified earlier in the week, and you are going to scroll and like for 5 minutes. Then once you've completed that, you're going to scroll back to the top of that hashtag in the Recents tab, and this time you're going to set your timer for 10 minutes, and you're going to go into people's accounts, and you're going to genuinely like 5 to 6 of their photos. You're going to comment on 2 to 3 of their photos with real, genuine comments. Once that 10 minutes is up, you're going to set your timer for another 10 minutes, and you are going to go into one of the larger accounts that you identified, and you're going to either engage with their followers, or it can be with their commenters. So again, pick one of their photos. Maybe they have hundreds of comments on it. You can just start scrolling through those commenters, going to their profile, engaging with their photos, commenting on their photos, or go to their followers and do the exact same thing. Engage with the comment and like on their photos. Once that 10 minutes is done, you're going to choose a second hashtag and set your timer for 5 minutes and go into that second hashtag and scroll and like for 5. Very slowly, nice and slow, like it's a real person doing it for 5 minutes. After you complete that second round of hashtag engagement, set your timer for 10 minutes and go to the top of that hashtag, and you are going to comment or like and comment on the profiles that are people that you would want to be your ideal client or customer. So liking 5 to 6 of their photos, commenting on 2 to 3 of them. So once you've done that, you are going to choose another one of your hashtags. Oops, no, I'm sorry. You're going to continue that for 10 minutes. Okay, next step. Now you're going to set a timer for 10 minutes. And this is something a little different than we have done before. You're going to go into either the same hashtag that you've been engaging in or a different one that you identified earlier. And you're going to start watching some stories. So if they are an ideal client or customer, you're going to go, if they have stories, you're going to watch their stories, and you are going to try to respond to 2 to 3 of their stories. I'm sorry, 1 to 2 of their stories. Now, it doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out response. We're just wanting to get this DM, this connection going. You even responding to them with one of the emoji responses is A-okay, because what you're doing is showing the interest in what they're putting, the content they're putting out, and you're showing that you are actively engaging with them. Again, just another way to get them interested in you, possibly to follow you. So do that for 10 minutes. It might seem weird to engage with somebody you don't know, but honestly, connecting with people in DMs is probably one of the best things that you can do on Instagram, because not only are you building the community and building those relationships, but those people in the DMs that you're connecting with, that audience can then be used in future Facebook ads that you run. So it's pretty important. Finally, you should have 5 minutes left. You're going to go back to your opening feed, set the timer for 5 minutes, refresh the feed, because by now 55 minutes has passed. You probably have some new photos there. Scroll and like for 5 minutes. If you run out, if let's say there's not enough photos to fill that 5 minutes, go ahead and go back into one of the hashtags that you were originally engaging with and just scroll and like in there. That's okay too. After that final 5 minutes, you have officially completed your first Engage Like a Boss hour. I would bet that throughout the next day and even into the day after, you are going to get a lot of comments on your photos. You're going to get a lot of likes. You may get a significant amount of followers from this, because your account is so lively. You literally sat there and effectively engaged on Instagram for 1 hour. It wasn't just the random liking here and there. It wasn't the random stuff that you were, watching in the Explore feed. It was genuine people that you have an interest in engaging with that could be great customers for you. Instagram knows that. Their algorithm gets it. They then start boosting you up and start showing your things to more people, which means more people become interested in what you have to say. I've had people, because one of the services I offer is that I will go into people's accounts and do this Engage Like a Boss hour for them. And I've had people after these hours come and tell me that people DM them and ask, they're like, oh my gosh, I just came across you. You liked one of my photos. I checked out your profile. I'm so curious in what you do. Could you run me through it? I might want to work with you. I don't know, whether they actually end up leading to sales or not, but I do know that this is really effective stuff. And if you do it consistently, for whether it's for yourself or for your clients, you will absolutely see the same type of growth. All right, that's it. That's how I would encourage you to engage on a weekly basis. Good luck. Feel free to ask me any questions. And I would love if you connected with me on Instagram at Jillian Finding Happy.